Hello students, now we are going to start the second lecture of our chapter, that is improvement in food resources. In this lecture, we are going to talk about some other topics that are the very first is steps for genetic improvement. Now, what are the steps? We all know that the crop production can be improved by genetic improvement. Now, what are the steps for genetic improvement? The very first step for genetic improvement is introduction of crops. Now, in introduction, it refers to the taking of superior varieties of crop plants. That we should take only superior varieties of crop plants. It refers to the taking of superior varieties superior varieties of crop plants it refers to taking of superior varieties of crop plants from the place of their natural cultivation from the place of their natural cultivation to the place where they were never grown earlier. To the place where they were never grown earlier. Where they were never grown earlier. It refers to taking of superior varieties of crop plants from a place of their natural cultivation to a place where they were never grown earlier. So it is the introduction, and that means that we are introducing a new plant or a new crop to a environment. Now the next is selection. Now the next one is selection, and it is the process in which economic plants have best desired characters. It is the process in which economic plants that have best desired characters that have best desired characters are picked up from the given population are picked up from given population from given population and seeds. Now selection can be done in two ways. Selection can be done in two ways. The very first one is natural selection. The very first one is natural selection, and it is done as on the basis of survival of the fittest. And it is done on the basis of survival of the fittest. It is done on the basis of survival of the fittest, and the next selection is done on artificial basis. And the next selection is done on artificial basis, and it is done on based on the human needs and interest. Based on human needs and interest. It is based on human needs and interest. So we have studied two topics here. The very first is introduction. That means that we are taking the crop from their natural vegetation to a vegetation where they were never grown earlier. And the selection is done on the basis of two processes. The very first one is natural, that is the survival of the fittest, and the second is artificial, that is based on human needs and interest. Now the next topic and the next process is hybridization. Now it is a step in the genetic improvement only, and how does we can improve the genes of a crop plant by hybridization. We are going to study that. It means hybridization is the process of crossbreeding. It is a process of crossbreeding. It is a process of crossbreeding of two genetically dissimilar varieties. Of two genetically dissimilar varieties. It is a process of two genetically dissimilar varieties of crop plants. Of crop plants. Each having a specific and better characteristic. Now, what are the crop plants we are going to take? That each have a specific and better characteristics. And better characteristics. Each will have a specific and a better characteristic. Now, to obtain a new crop plant, to obtain a new crop plant, it is to obtain a new crop plant and that have the desire and that have the both the desired characteristics. Having both the desired characteristics. Having both the desired characteristics. This process is called as hybridization, in which one parent have a specific characteristic and the other parent have a specific characteristic, and the offspring will have the characteristic of the both. For example, let's say parent one we are taking here. It have a characteristic. It have a desired character like high yield. It have a desired character like high yield, and parent 2 it have a desired character like disease resistance. It have a desired character like disease resistance. And if we are going to hybrid both of them, that means multiply both of them, the hybrid variety will have the characteristic of both. That means it will also be a high yielding plant. It will also be a high yielding plant, and also it will have disease resistance and disease resistance. I hope this is clear to all of you that how hybridization is done. And now the next topic that we are going to look at is green revolution. Now, what is a green revolution? The green revolution was a process by which it is a process by which India's production of wheat, India's production of wheat, rice, maize, and several other food grains and several other food grains were tremendously increased. The India's production of wheat, rice, maize, and several other food grains were tremendously increased. Were tremendously increased in the late 1960s, in the late 1960s and early 1970s and early 1970s. Now, we all know that India, which was earlier said to carry a begging bowl for India, it was said to India carry a begging bowl to the west for food grains, to the west for food grains, claimed self-sufficiency. India claimed self-sufficiency, and how the self-sufficiency was done? It was done by fertilizers and pesticides. Fertilizers and pesticides were used. Fertilizers and pesticides were used. Irrigation facilities were improved. Irrigation facilities Irrigation facilities were improved. So this is how the green revolution takes place. It is a process in which India's production of wheat, rice, maize, and several other food grains were tremendously increased. And now the next topic that we are going to study about is development of agriculture. Now, how the development of agriculture was formed. Now, the development of agriculture was formed by the Green Revolution only. Now, who is the father of Green Revolution? Padam Vibhushan, Professor Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan. Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, FRS. He belongs to FRS, the Fellow of Royal Society. He is the father of Green Revolution. He is the father of Green Revolution. He is the father of Green Revolution, and he stressed the need for the reorientation. He stressed the need. He stressed the need for the reorientation. He stressed the need for the reorientation of the breeding program of the breeding program He stressed the need for the reorientation of the breeding program, and his work led to the and his work led to the dwarf varieties in India. His work led to the era of it was the era of dwarf varieties. It was the era of dwarf varieties in India. And what happened with this is that in 1967 he developed a high yield dwarf variety of wheat. He developed a high yield he developed a high yield dwarf variety he developed a high yield dwarf variety of wheat. He developed a very high yield dwarf variety of wheat, and that is known as dwarf variety of wheat, and it is known as Sharbati Sonara, and it is known as Sharbati Sonara. It is known as Sharbati Sonara. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is crop production management. Now, what is crop production management? In order to improve, in order to improve and manage our crop production system, improve and manage our crop production system, in order to improve and manage our crop production system, we have to focus on cheaper and farmer friendly approaches. So India needs to focus, we have to focus on cheaper and farmer friendly approaches and farmer friendly approaches and farmer friendly approaches. So the farmer friendly approaches that we are going to talk about is the very first farmer friendly approach crop production includes, that is the very first is nutrition management. The very first one is nutrition management. The next is irrigation. We need to focus on nutrition management, irrigation. The third one is cropping patterns, that whether there is mixed cropping, intercropping, or what is a type of cropping. So the next is cropping patterns. The next is cropping patterns. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is nutrition management. Now, we all know that plant nutrients are the mineral elements. Plant nutrients are the mineral elements Plant nutrients are the mineral elements needed by the plants. These are the mineral elements needed by the plants for their growth, development and maintenance. Development and maintenance. And maintenance. So we all need plant nutrients and which are important for plant growth, development and maintenance. Now, plant absorb a large number of elements from soil. Plants absorb a large number of elements. Plants absorb a large number of elements from soil, and these elements, there are only 16 essential nutrients required for plants. There are only 16 essential nutrients. There are only 16 essential nutrients There are only 16 essential nutrients required for plant. Required for plant, and the very some of them are, the very first one is carbon. The next is oxygen. The third one is phosphorus. The fourth one is magnesium. Fifth one is iron. Sixth is boron. Seventh is copper. There, chlorine also is needed by plant. So chlorine, hydrogen, hydrogen, nitrogen. So these are some of the essential nutrients that are required by the plants. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is classification of the plant nutrients. Now, the 16 out of 16 elements, the plant nutrients are classified as on the basis of quantities required. They are classified as, the first one are macronutrients. Macronutrients are the nutrients that plant require in large quantities. Macronutrients are the nutrients that plant will require in large quantity, and macronutrients are carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, and the micronutrients are the nutrients that plant require in small quantities. Micronutrients are the nutrients that plant require in small quantities, and these are iron, manganese, copper, zinc, boron, calcium. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is deficiency of plant nutrients. Now, what happens if there is a deficiency of plant nutrients? If there will be a deficiency of plant nutrients, then deficiency of nutrients will affect psychological processes, will affect psychological as well as physiological processes in plants. This will affect the physiological process in plants as well as their reproduction, as well as their reproduction, growth, and susceptibility to diseases, and susceptibility susceptibility to diseases. To overcome the deficiency of nutrients, the soil, to overcome the deficiency of nutrients, to overcome the deficiency of nutrients, the soil can be enriched by the soil can be enriched by manure and fertilizers and fertilizers. Beside these, besides manure and fertilizers, or we can say beside these, carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen, carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen are called the framework elements, of plants. They are called as the framework elements They are called as the framework elements of the plants. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is manure. Now, what is a manure? Manure are organic materials. Manure are organic materials such as cow dung, such as cow dung and and plant residues, plant residues such as dead leaves, agricultural waste, agricultural waste, crop residues, etc. And they are partially decomposed through the action of microbes. When on organic materials, when organic materials like cow dung and plant residues are partially decomposed through the action of microbes, through the action of microbes, when they are partially decomposed through the action of microbes which are added to the soil, and these are added to the soil and these are added to soil to increase its fertility, to increase its fertility and and production of crops and production of crops. They contain plenty of organic compounds. They contain plenty of organic compounds and almost all essential elements they compose all essential elements required by the plants. So, talking about manure, they are the organic materials and decomposed by the action of microbes but added to soil to increase its fertility and production of crops. They contain plenty of organic compounds and almost all essential elements required by the plants. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is advantages of manure. Now, what are the advantages of manure? The very first point in the advantages of manure are that manures enrich the soil. Manure enrich the soil with specific nutrients. Manure enrich the soil with specific nutrients. The next is that it provides It provides the soil with a lot of organic matter. It provides the soil with a lot of organic matter which restore texture of soil, which restores the texture of soil, which restores the texture of soil for proper retention of water. For proper retention, for proper retention of water. Now the third point is addition of manure to soil. Addition of manure to soil reduces soil erosion. When manure is added to soil, it reduces soil erosion. It reduces soil erosion. When manure is added to soil, it reduces soil erosion. Manure also enriches the soil with specific nutrients, so it will reduce the soil erosion. And the fourth point is that the organic matter added to the soil, the organic matter added to the soil provide nutrients to the soil friendly microbes, provide nutrients. The microbe will also need nutrients and will become the soil fertile, will provide nutrients to the soil friendly microbes. It will provide nutrients to the soil friendly microbes. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is fertilizers. Now we have studied about manure, that manure are the organic matter and it provides soil with fertility. Now what are fertilizers? Fertilizers are the inorganic chemicals. Fertilizers are the inorganic chemicals Fertilizers are the inorganic chemicals synthesized in industries. Synthesized in industries. And also they contain essential plant nutrients. They contain essential plant nutrients They contain essential plant nutrients like nitrogen. Fertilizers mainly contain nitrogen, phosphorus, phosphorus and potassium. And potassium. Now they are prepared in the concentrated form. They are also prepared. They are prepared in the concentrated form. They are prepared in the concentrated form so that it will be easy to transport. so that it will be, or that so that it is easy to transport them. Easy to transport them. Now, the next topic that we are going to study about is types of fertilizers. Now, the very first fertilizers are nitrogenous fertilizers. The very first one are nitrogenous fertilizers, and nitrogenous fertilizers contains nitrogen as the principal nutrient. As the principal nutrient. For example, the, the nitrogenous fertilizers example are NaNO3, NH4NO3, CaNO3 whole twice, etc. Now the next ones are phosphatic fertilizers. The next one are phosphatic fertilizers, and it contains phosphorus as principal nutrient. Phosphorus, and it contains phosphorus as principal nutrient. It contains phosphorus as principal nutrient. Now, the examples of phosphatic fertilizers are NH4 whole thrice PO4. Whole thrice PO4. The next is CaH2PO4 whole twice. Now the third type of fertilizers are potassium fertilizers. Now the third are potassium fertilizers, and they have potassium as the principal component. And they have potassium as principal component or principal nutrient. Now the examples of potassium fertilizers are K2SO4, KCl, and KNO3. Now there are some mixed fertilizers also that contain more than one nutrient. For example is potassium ammonium phosphate. Now the next topic that we are going to study about is what are biofertilizers. Now biofertilizers are the microorganisms. Microorganisms also add fertility to the soil. So biofertilizers are the microorganisms Biofertilizers are the microorganisms such as bacteria, algae, and fungi. They are commonly used singly, but sometimes they are used in combination also, or biologically active products, or biologically active products biologically active products which are used to enrich soil fertility, which are used to enrich soil fertility. They are used to enrich soil fertility. For example, some of the biofertilizers are, the very first is legumes, and they are rhizobium symbiosis. They are rhizobium symbiosis. The next one is free living bacteria. Free living bacteria, that is also known as it azotobacter, living in soil symbiotically, and they are living in soil symbiotically. Now the next one are cyanobacteria. They are also biofertilizers because they increase the fertility of the soil. And the last one are mycorrhiza. The last one are mycorrhiza, and they are in symbiotic association of fungi. And they are in symbiotic association of fungi. Now, now with this, we are going to end the lecture here only, and thank you everyone.